Hey everyone, I'm Gwen Callahan. I am one of the co-directors of the HP Lovecraft Film Festival and CthulhuCon. And the streaming shows right now, October 18th to the 22nd. If you're catching us on the first day, you have 4 more days to watch a bunch of short films and features. I am joined by a couple of the filmmakers from Shorts Block 1. We have Jamie Gower, who did Your Parasite on You. Very funny.
Hey,
Thank you for
everybody.
being with us. And we have Max
Thank you so
Wheeland,
much.
who did Visions of Sonia Green, which incidentally won Best Adaptation at the festival, which the in-person event, which was 2 weeks ago. We presented that award.
Fantastic.
Still shocked by that, but thank you for having me. Still amazed. Thank you.
Good going.
And
That's
since
great.
Jamie, since your short film basically opened the festival, we thought it was very apt.
Great.
And
I
for
couldn't make
people,
it this year, and when I realized I was first, I was like, "Oh, I would have loved to be there." Thank you so much for that spot.
yeah, it was we had a lot of parasites and doppelgangers this year. I'm not really sure what's happening with that, but yours was very, very funny. Your kind of signature low-key delivery is very nice. We really enjoy your kind of dry
Thank
humor.
you.
And we before we went live, we were talking a little bit about how you did that. So with all of these basically slides, it's kind of like a training. It almost feels like a corporate training video. Can you tell us a little bit about how you created the visuals?
The created the visuals. I had done a lot of this type of thing as audio, and then the internet made the pivot to video. And the thing is, I can't draw. I'm not an artistic guy. And I forget what I was doing, and I realized there are all these animations in PowerPoint, and especially Keynote, which is the PowerPoint of Apple. And I thought, oh, if I just had a list of icons, because and I saw this huge library of icons called Streamline, and I thought, God, if I can't find the joke in there, I'll just write another joke. And I rarely have to rewrite. There's always some icon I can use, and then I move it around. And so I made this rule that all the animations are going to come from PowerPoint. And 10 years later, it still works. I'm in a much more sophisticated editing suite, and I'm much more sophisticated with my audio and everything. But it's all the built-in animation effects from Keynote.
Okay. Now I know where I know that now I know who to hit up for my next presentation at Portland State University.
Happy to help.
I'll be in touch.
Okay.
What inspired this Your Parasite in You? Like what kicked that off?
Hey, I'm old enough to be of the era when if you're gonna see some sort of video, they would pull in the projector, and there were these Bell Labs series of documentaries, and there was this avuncular host, and he would tell you, "Well, Johnny, the kidney works like this." And I just always loved that thing. This is actually the second one. I did one called Your Key Fob in You, about this key fob that has this mysterious third button that won't go away, and they're telling you not to press it. And I'm going to finish that one at some point. But I like that thing of the and you, and I thought, what are the thing? Oh, you're parasiting you. And then there's this thing I talk about of the yes line. When you're writing something, there's always something you write. There's a scene or there's a line or something, and you go, okay, yes, I know what this is. I know it's going to work. And when I had the line, hosting a parasite is a special time for you and your body, full of new feelings, new experiences, and new internal organs. And I went, okay, there we go. I just need to finish this. And that turned out to be, I had a lot of fun with this one.
Perfect. It was perfect.
Thank you.
Yes, I very much enjoyed it. So thank you for that. I'll come back to you. I'm gonna
Sure.
ask Max a couple of questions, and then we can talk some more. Max, so we've seen 1,000,001 adaptations of the Statement of Randolph Carter, and most people play it pretty straight. Can you tell me a little bit about why you decided to make it from the point of view of kind of a famous name, Sonia Green,
Mhm.
who was H.P. Lovecraft's wife? So it's interesting, it's fun and interesting to see her kind of as the police inspector, trying to unravel this mystery. How did you decide to approach it this way?
I think, well, the original idea came from because I actually didn't know it was the most adapted Lovecraft story. I had no idea that that was the case, but I had always liked that story, and for whatever reason, I always had this image of the like detective discovering whatever had become of Harley Warren down in, in the
Mhm.
crypts. And I just kind of became obsessed with that. And so as I started writing, I just kind of decided to make it kind of about that and have the kind of the Randolph Carter stuff be sort of secondary to this other character's journey. And then the idea to make it kind of Sonia Green and kind of bring these people that we know who they are, if you're aware of who they are from like kind of the historical mythology of Lovecraft. That kind of came from Lovecraft always putting people he knew under other like names into the stories. So like Randolph Carter is kind of him, and then Harley Warren could be like one of his archaeology buddies. And so that kind of like I tried to take that and then lean into the sort of dream idea of it, where these people don't reference um their historical personas, but instead like this completely different version of them trapped in kind of a nightmare, and tried to use that as like a wedge into thematically what I was trying to do with it that might deviate from the original story. It's a very convoluted way, so I apologize. It's a roundabout way to get there.
No, that's interesting. That, like you mentioning how Lovecraft would kind of borrow his friends and names, and so like you've got Robert Blake in Hunter of the Dark is
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Mhm.
things like that. I think yeah, if you read through all of his stuff, you see a couple of his other friends' names pop up in places that are kind of
Yeah,
funny.
and since I think it was based on a nightmare he had had, like that, like
Mhm.
short story, I kind of like let me lean into kind of the dreamy dream logic of it, and kind of like let it just be kind of strange and uncanny almost.
Mhm.
Just really lean into the uncanny side of things.
Yeah. So what, I mean, I guess backing up further, what led you to decide to make an adaptation of a Lovecraft story?
So I grew up on cosmic horror. That was my brother read me Whisper in the Dark in that cabin in the movie. He read that story to me and then drug me out into the woods as a kid. So my version of Lovecraft cosmic horror is tied to the Rockies and the woods, not so much like Providence and So
Mhm.
the visual memory of that sort of kind of horror, but that was like the primordial horror. So I've kind of always circled cosmic horror or existential horror. They're the most interesting genres for me. Um, Kind of like questioning who we are, who we could be. Do we have any control over that? The outer reaches of the inner reaches of outer space kind of thing, bridging the cosmic and the internal life, and seeing what kind of interesting things come out of that, which is why there's a little bit of the like Buddhist yogi stuff from the 70s in there, to try to kind of
Mhm.
see if, because sometimes Lovecraft, that is not dead, which can eternally lie. That could be a Zen koan, someone could drop that and be like, meditate on this for a while, Like, there's some parallel that you can maybe mine some interesting material out of.
Okay, okay. I like it. I like
Nice.
when people take things and put their own spin on them and make them make sense. It's a skill.
I
The
do.
the fine line that you walk with, especially when you have like rabid Lovecraft fans that really want like faithful adaptations of stories. But for me, just read the story. If you want to see something
Yeah.
that's visual, like
Mhm.
I prefer to have someone's interpretation of it, but that's just me. Can you, and speaking of visuals, can you talk about some of the effects that you did in the film, the
Oh
visual?
yeah, yeah. Those all of those effects were very DIY. So I have a lot of friends who do art, like 3D sculpture, art stuff like this, little things like that. Um, and so they had always wanted to get into doing monsters, and so we kind of learned as we went. So it's all very latex, polymer clay, and I had these ideas for, this kind of um, you know, this almost like bio dome, or like this biodiversity around this like eldritch god in the mountains. So it's like bleeding in and people are like growing out of this like river. So I just wanted
Mhm.
eyes. I wanted eyes and logs, and then the weird river baby. That we so those were all practical. They were it was a journey to get there, and it was a journey to make work in like sub-freezing water and have it not just
Oh
Mhm.
my.
fall apart or like lock up. Yeah, we had like heat pads on the on glove inside of gloves, and you could only be in the water puppeteering those eyes for, you know, 10 seconds or so before we had to get out, and because it was so cold. It was so cold up there. So we did that, and then yeah, most of it was practical. Up and the I think the only things were the eyes at the very end was where we did a little bit of like CG stuff.
Mhm.
But I really, you know, I wanted to be I went Herzog with it. I'm gonna go up to the mountains. I'm gonna drag a bunch of people up to the mountains. I'm gonna do everything. I'm going to take apart this boat and we're gonna carry it over the mountains and rebuild it. You know, I was definitely doing a Herzog thing a little bit.
It's a test of loyalty.
It's a test of endurance, will, and how much your friends love you. Is really what it is.
That sounds like indie movie making.
Yeah,
I
it's
think that's it in
100%
a
indie
nutshell.
movies. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because I put them through a lot, clearly.
This
Yeah.
yours is not the first time we've heard this. Like yeah, pretty much I think everyone has a similar story at some point in their independent film career.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's time honored tradition.
Mm.
Um, so are you looking to develop this into a feature or make a different story out of a feature, or
I have
where are you going next?
I have a cosmic horror folk cosmic horror film that takes place in that town in that style, and it's just not a direct it's not a direct adaptation of Lovecraft, but it's a cosmic horror movie that takes place literally in that town. The co-cop is like he's good. He's one of the main characters like that I have cast in it. So now it's just trying to sell it, get money to go make it. So, but yeah,
Hmm.
that's what's next.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's very
Cool.
well, good luck with that. And
Thank
yeah,
Yeah.
you
like
so much.
everybody's watching. If you liked Max's movie, talk about it, tag him on social media, tag name drop the film, talk about what you liked about it. It really helps. It helps the money people see that people have an interest in this kind of thing.
That's what
Um,
they're looking for.
Yep.
for Jamie, so you mentioned that you started a lot of these things with audio. Um,
Mhm.
what is it about this like little like short kind of funny format that you like? What is it about it that appeals to you for working in it?
Originally, it was a way of I wanted to do one every week. And so what it is, I set up a series of restrictions. It has to be the animations from Keynote. It can only be the sounds from this one um, particular library. Because I knew otherwise I would spend weeks probably looking for the right sound. And the same with the icons. And I used a very simple editor and just got it done. And then also was tried to be no more than a page of dialogue script, like radio dialogue, which gives you more space than movie. And it worked. I mean, I got like 2 dozen of these things done, and then a couple of them, like Book Return, which was the first one that you showed. It all worked out pretty well. And then I just wanted to move on. But it's interesting that I just find there's an affinity for the 3 to 6 minute fun video that I can. That's kind of how I think right now. And also as a single director, I'm married, but as a single person working on a movie, um, that's something that's easy to do. I am looking at where do I go with this, and I've had thoughts like, does your ink and you become a series? Your key fobbing you, your strange hometowning you. So I'm looking at different things. I'm thinking of sticking my toe into live action, like Max was so brave to do. Um, and it just seems daunting. No, I'm doing these because I just really, really enjoy it. And I'm just hoping that that's going to get across to the audience as well.
I would be first in line for a series of those. I'm just gonna say right now. I would
Oh,
be
thank you.
there on the day because I would adore that.
You know, the thing, Gwen, I was going to say, Max and I were talking beforehand. I thought the look of his was so assured when he said this was, you know, the first one he's submitted to a festival. I was kind of shocked because I thought and he has been doing this kind of thing, but this movie in itself had such an assured look. I love the inverse of that flashbacks were done in color.
Yeah.
I did because that's the complete opposite of what you always see, and I just really love that. But I thought all the films in this thing, everybody had really their own look, and they solidly nailed it. You had the noir look, you had this look, and then you had that kind of the lighting in the outside scenes in Robbie Ain't Right No More was just so tasty.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything was done really well on these, and especially Max's. I like that.
I had a great DP, so I cheated.
No, that's how it gets done.
Thank you,
because you have somebody look at that.
It's exploiting a resource.
Yeah, but thank you.
Because also finding the resource and talking them into it is a skill.
That is the director's number one skill is, can I talk someone in on a crazy venture with me? That is the number one skill a director has, yes.
Exactly.
So we have a question in the Discord, and Troy asks for Max, was Sonia Green just a fun name homage to Sonia Green, or is there a meaning or deeper connection intended there?
So there is a deeper, it's kind of back to originally what I was saying, where I was taking the way that Lovecraft often took people that he knew in real life and put them in his stories. I was taking the Lovecraftian historical people. So like Howard, the other cop is Howard Lovecraft. The town is Ashton. It's sort of my goal there was to just extract these characters. So if you knew them, if you were familiar with kind of the Lovecraft history, that you would be like, okay, I see this name, but this obviously Sonia Green wasn't a police officer and didn't live in the 70s. So it's kind of, I'm trying to create a dissonance there and then trying to kind of prod the audience to kind of like, okay, so why? And then how that's leaning towards thematically what I'm trying to do different than what Lovecraft did in the original story is kind of why I did that. That was the directorial decision there, was to make it dreamlike, dissonant, and uncanny, and then try to maybe see, maybe I'm saying something a little bit there. I just don't want to say it.
Nice. And Troy said to Jamie, just a comment that he would love more of them, love to see more of them. He really enjoyed your Parasite in You.
Agreed. Oh, tell him he has excellent taste.
Yes.
Agreed. I appreciate that
agree.
very much.
100%.
That's really nice. Thank you very much.
And then
I would love to do it.
I have like 5 devices open right here.
That's
in
okay.
the chat on YouTube, someone said, one shot, will there be a sequel? I'm not totally sure what they're referencing. Maybe, I guess for either of you, is there going to be, I mean, Max, we talked about Sonia Green kind of being, that's just a standalone thing. You're not really planning.
Yeah, there's a spiritual sequel, which is the feature film version of that, but there's no like direct lore, like, you know, the lore, there's no lore sequel to it in a way. Yeah. And
then your Parasite News, they're going to be your Parasite News. Parasites.
Well, like I said, I sat down once and made a whole list of horror tropes. Your creepy old town in you, your family curse in you. And it's like, and you just, how do you deal with these things?
It's so good. Yes. Yeah. How have you not?
It's good
you should be doing a series right now.
I know. Your conjoined twin.
Yeah.
Exactly. Your unformed conjoined twin. But because I'm just a guy in a room and I think of these things and I go, yeah, that's an idea. And it's wonderful to hear from you guys the stuff that you like, because that's always what one should pursue. You know, the funny thing is too that in doing these, like I said, I've done, you know, like 2 dozen of the One New Messages. I did bumpers for you guys. I've done all these different videos, and I've kind of built up this weird mythology. There's a company, Industrial Industries, that kind of makes everything. And every company that shows up, whether it's the pest control for multiple dimensions, or and like last year I did a short series podcast called Not Even a Season, and it was about TV. It was about the themes from TV shows that you might have forgotten because they were so long ago. Only none of them ever existed in our reality, and they did in the narrator's reality. And he's wondering why people are leaving these weird comments. And so 6 episodes in, by the 5th episode, he's just babbling. And then finally it resolves in the 6th. But part of it is it's because he's hosting on Probable Computing, which is this quantum as a service computing series. And they get involved with quantum entanglement and all of that. And I have a friend that keeps asking me, when can I get my Probable Computing baseball cap? So these things are being built. And I have to remember not to let them fade, but to gather them up and to see what I can do next with them, such as you guys seem to respond very well to Your Blank and You. And it's really easy to do. I mean, when I say easy, let me say, when I say easy, I mean fun. It's still a lot of work to get through them, and you got to do it like, also like that narrator I love because he is so goddamn unreliable. I almost entitled this Something Wonderful, because to him, that's what it is, to have this baby burst out. That's wonderful. It's something wonderful. He's really looking forward to it. Not the kind of guy you want training a bunch of high school students about how to deal with their parasites.
Love that so much. It's so great.
I'm pretty sure I had a health ed teacher that was like that. In junior high. Yeah, he was a wrestling coach.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's the worst. Oh boy. Oh no.
It was the best.
It was
entertaining. I guess we should probably wrap up because it's like almost 8:40. I could talk to both of you for much, much longer. And Max, it was really nice to meet you.
Yes,
festival in person, and
a delight.
Really, really fun weekend.
Yeah.
I hope you get to come back again.
It was the best film festival experience I've ever had. You've ruined all of other festivals for me, so it was utterly amazing, life-changing for me.
They do that.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah.
And Jamie, I'm really sorry that you weren't able to attend, but I'm glad that we got to talk now.
Me too. This has been a delight. And while I'm here, can I just say to people watching and everybody that attended and people that even can't hear me right now, coming to the festival and doing this streaming part of the festival, you guys, this is closing the loop. This is ultimately why we do this, is so it gets seen. And Gwen, you and Brian create the environment, and bless you for that. And then the audience comes and makes it complete, and bless them for that. So thank you all.
And the best audience. Amazing.
They're great.
We do. We have the best in the world. So before we totally sign off, where can people find you on the internet, Max?
It is Wylight Films on Instagram, or at Wylight Films on Instagram, WYLIGHT Films. That is where you can find me and any updates.
And Jamie.
All this stuff is under the umbrella of Required Field Productions, and you can do requiredfieldproductions.com, and that'll get you there.
Perfect. Well, I hope that both of you have more films to submit to us in the future, and that we get to show them to everybody, and get to see you both in person again really soon. Thank you so much for taking time to be here with this Q&A, and for making your amazing films and letting us share them with our audience.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gwen.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it.